Hi, and welcome to this week's The Mortgage Broker broadcast. My guest this week is Leigh Rowland, and Leigh's back on the podcast. Yes, he's been on probably half a dozen times already. He hasn't been on for about a year since we did the Habits season back in the early January 2024, if you want to listen back on that. But I wanted to get Leigh onto the podcast for a couple of reasons, really. One was to have a brief discussion around local branding and how he's built that up over the years of, I think, 5 years since he's been self-employed now. But also I want to talk to him more importantly with that he's recently gone directly authorised. So he set up his own firm, gone directly authorised, and I wanted to get him to the podcast just to explain. It's very early days. I think it's just only gone live last week or so, but just want to get through the process, understanding a little bit more, and explain a bit of detail about going directly authorised and how he's done it, how he's felt, the challenges faced, and things like that. So yeah, that's today's episode. But before we get into that, if you are joining us for the first time, if you're listening to the podcast for the first time, then I'm your host, Craig Skelton. I have my own mortgage broker business, and I'm also a coach and mentor for mortgage brokers and business owners too. The idea behind this podcast is here to give you actionable insights and strategies to grow your business and also develop your mindset. And if you do enjoy this podcast, please leave me a review. Please like and share it with any mortgage brokers or business owners that you can feel will benefit from listening to this episode or any of the past episodes too. So now it's time to get Leigh onto the pod. So welcome back onto the podcast, Leigh. How are you?
Oh, thanks for having me back on, Craig. Really well, thank you. They might not know it's Monday morning, but had a brilliant weekend, and now looking forward to the rest of the week. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Good start to the year. Ready for sort of 2025 and the challenges that are going to be faced this year. And obviously, you've got new beginnings rolling into the year, which we're gonna talk about shortly. So, but yeah, all good. Ready for 2025. I think 2025 is going to be a good year for brokers.
And I do. I was very positive about the year ahead. Lots of hard work for, I think, everybody. It is going to be hard work, but there is a lot of opportunities out there for everyone, I think. So fingers crossed everyone can optimize that and have a great 2025.
Definitely, definitely. So, first of all, for those people that don't know, even though you've been on this podcast 5 times already, plus we've done a series, but that's not. So if you think about it, that's over sort of how long's the podcast been going now? 3.5 years? 3.5 years, yeah. So you've been on a couple of times. You're a
I
returning
know.
guest.
I feel sorry for the people who watch it, to be honest with you, but thank you for having me back on, and hopefully we can add some sort of value on this one as well. Because I love
Yeah.
him. I love coming on. I come on you every week, as you know.
Mate, you add value every single time, so don't worry too much around that. But for those people that haven't listened to you before, don't know who you are, do you want to just give a brief introduction of who is Leigh Rowland?
Uh, yeah, of course. Main thing is married to Lauren, 4 beautiful children, director of Fear Financial, which we'll be talking about later. Mortgages Made Easy. Only been a mortgage broker for about 5.5, 6 years. Started off as self-employed, and then luckily we've gone through this story. I sort of pestered Craig, and he allowed me to work with him on my brand, my way. And now I've just gone directly authorized. So it's been a bit of a journey. Pretty good actually. Exciting, and we've also moved premises this year as well. So we've gone from an office to a shop is the outside, but in the inside it's more offices, which I can elaborate on later. But yeah, just a normal bloke who has a normal life and enjoys himself and coaches some football as well. So
No,
yeah, that's it.
yeah, you forgot about that. We're going to say then about the football coaching as well, which you entertains your weekends, no doubt, every single weekend. So, but no, Lee, thanks for coming back on. What I wanted to, the reason why I wanted to get back on was obviously I think it's fair to say we have shared the journey on the podcast, going from sort of when you was at King, sort of when you first came on the podcast, like several years ago, first self-employed, to then having what was the Mortgage Man Wales, wasn't it? That was the thing, Mortgage
Yeah.
Man Wales. I was thinking then, what was the yeah,
Well,
that was the
it's,
brand then.
there was, but there was a more local one than that as well. I don't know if you ever saw that one because the Instagram was Mortgage Man Wales, but locally I was known as I can't. I gotta have to say it out loud. Cumbrand's Mortgage Man.
Right, okay. Right.
And I didn't even have my face on there. It was a logo of a like a mortgage man superhero, and he carried around a little house as a shield. It
I
sounds
can remember that, and it is still
it,
around. Like you can still see it on.
yeah.
For So I might put a link into the podcast to sort of people can sort of view your sort of superhero logo.
Well, I wish I was downstairs in the office. I'm not. I'm upstairs at the moment, but I've still got the first ever advertising board we had out with the Mortgage Man logo on it, and it got battered by a football. But I managed to salvage the Mortgage Man bit, and I've signed the back and put a date on it and everything. It's a bit sad, I suppose, but I always thought, oh, I'll have it up one day. I'll have it up. So it's still downstairs. So yeah, I didn't have my face on anything. I had a logo. It was Cumbrand's Mortgage Man, and then also Mortgage Man Wales. Yeah, yeah, it was that. Yeah.
Do you want to like? Shall we? Because I did want to talk a little bit. Not it wasn't the highlight, the main idea about the podcast, but um, you sort of really sort of early on realized the importance of local because I've been fortunate down to Cumbrian a few times. I've walked on the high street and we've been around and people do very much know everybody, don't they? Everybody knows you. You've done everybody's mortgage. Everybody sort of knows who you are. You like know everybody. And I think that's sort of it's one of those things where when people first start being a mortgage broker and they get a little bit of I'm not well known locally, but they think, "Oh, I'm gonna now conquer the county, or I'm gonna conquer the country, or I'm gonna like literally be national." I'm not
Yeah.
saying that you're not gonna do that, but that's very much right. You are very much the one broker in Cumbrian, and everybody knows you, and you do everybody's mortgage. Is that fair to say?
Uh, if any other mortgage brokers in Cumbrian or Torvine watch this, then no, it's not fair to say, really. But if you look at it percentage wise, I don't do too badly. I don't do too bad considering. And I just thought I played to my strengths. I've always, I have played football. I've lived here for quite a few years. And I've got a good local community, my own local community, if you like. And I just thought, what's the best way to tell people about what I do and how I could support them rather than and use my local community. And it was quite easy to do due to my network to start with, and then building on within that network, and then backing it up with the social proof, which is the reviews. And but it was I heard this. It wasn't me. Someone said 5 Mile Famous. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh
5 Mile
yeah, yeah,
Famous.
yeah, yes.
Anyway, so I don't know. I'm not gonna. I wish I could. I wish I dreamt that up. It's superb. So I just thought, right, if I can be 5 Mile Famous, where everyone knows who I am, what I do, and I can do a good job, and fingers crossed, people then want to come to me, then I can use that as the catalyst to do more business with people. That's what it was, and it's not in a conniving way either. I do actually really enjoy supporting other local businesses like Customize RS have done our. I can just about see like they've done our logos, my football kits. For the football team, they've done my signage on everywhere, and I do like supporting other local businesses like Modern Media Marketing. Everyone, I think locally it does benefit. It does make me quite happy to be involved in like the community, so everybody sort of does. I know it's cheesy, does grow together, and that's
Mm.
worked really well because we all help each other out. Then not just on social media, but just if someone's chatting, they don't really go to the pub that much no more, I suppose. But if you are chatting at football at the gym, and someone says to me, "Oh, where'd you get your signage from?" I say Customize RS, and hopefully John over at Customize RS says, "Oh, I've done your mortgages," and they say Leigh. So what goes around comes around, and it was building that core to start with, a good reputation, and luckily for me, or now it's us, it worked. So yeah, I would, if you are a local broker, and I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, use your own personal network and play to your strengths really, and just go local as possible and just create some working relationships. But it's got to be two-way. Look, you can't be selfish. You can't just take and expect people to do business with you because you'll get found out after a while. And it's got to be it's a relationship at the end of the day, which has to be nurtured from both sides as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. I
relationship
think that.
management.
Sorry, mate. I think that's it. Like you're saying there, it's about nurturing it and making sure it's a two-way thing. And I think that the other thing with it as well is that you seem to forget, like you've got other business owners. are generally on their own. They are very much sole traders or one man bands, or they might be different industries, but they're going through the same challenges, the same thoughts, the same issues, the same sleepless nights, the whole sort of mental awareness, well, the whole sort of challenges that owning a business face. So I think it's important to know your other local businesses, because it's okay to have conversations and help each other out, and just having somebody to talk to that sort of doesn't understand your industry, but understands what it's like to be on your own as a business owner.
You'll notice when you bump into people who own their own business, they'll say, "How's business?" Right? People who don't own their own business won't ask about
Yeah,
businesses because they want you to sort of then say. I always say, as you know, I always say ticking over, right? And then,
yeah,
but they want sometimes they want you to ask it them back so they can open up a little bit, even if it's just in the car park. Because not to me essentially, because I'm but anyway, they want you to ask them back so then they can have a moan, oh, flipping clients, blah blah blah, or effing customers. Do you know what I mean? And then you're just like, and then you say, but on a whole, how's it going? You're right, and they go, yeah, yeah, thankfully we're good. Yeah, we're taking over. And so the people who own a business will ask you how business is, and that's great, I think, because you get recognised as a business owner who goes through the same, exactly what you said, the same struggles and strife as everybody else, regardless of the product or the component that you're actually making or producing or giving away. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. I think, like I said, we often overlook the local people and the local bands and the local business owners that can actually help us to keep us on the straight and narrow as business owners. Yes, it's great to talk to people within the industry, and if you've got local people that you have the abundance mindset like you do and I do, and we're not everybody's like that with regards to local competition and things like that. There are plenty enough chimney pots on in this country for
That's
enough
it.
mortgages for everybody.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I'm in quite a nice little local mortgage group, broker group, to be honest. There's probably 8 of us in there, and
Right.
all from different companies. And if I had a really tricky case and I did want a little bit of hand, then I'd pop it in the WhatsApp group. We're all trying to work together. They'll all watch this and they'll be laughing. So I contribute absolutely nothing to that. I'm useless. I just do rockets and fire and stuff like that. But there's some great brokers in there, and we are all working together, which is nice. Regardless of, like you said, there's enough chimney pots to go around. When it's the same as the other businesses, really. If
Yeah.
we all work together, we can all benefit, can we? And that's the way forward.
It is, and that's amazing that you've got that local broker community that can that helps each other out. That I'm gonna say that's pretty unique, Lee. There's not many of those I wouldn't have thought. And if you have got one, then great, put in a comment or and let us know. But I don't think there've been many out there which has got local brokers that are in essence competitors, but then at the same time helping and sharing each other, helping and sharing, and actually helping each other maintain the businesses and grow the businesses as well.
That shocked me. I just thought it was normal. I haven't been a broker very long, have I? 5, 6 years. I just thought that was normal. Therefore, would help each other out. Unless there was one mortgage left, you're all going to have a big scrap over it in a ring. Then just get on with each other and help each other out. Surely,
No,
unless someone's done you over, if someone's really pulled your pants down,
done you
in a
over.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If someone's pretty much, I don't know, done something against your character, which isn't very nice, and you haven't had it out with them, then obviously, yeah. But just get on with each other. I'm literally surprised. I thought everyone was sort of supporting each other and
I'm
helping each other.
I might be
Honestly.
wrong. I might be wrong. But I know there is obviously within firms, like we've got that
Oh,
within
yeah.
there's
That's
within
brilliant.
firms helping each other out, even if brokers are located close by. But yeah, I might be wrong. And I think there's some stuff that with networks that I do sorry, I'm saying there is some sort of networks which tend to have peer groups and things like that with local business owners, but mortgage brokers, yeah. I might be totally wrong.
Well,
It's not something I've ever heard of.
you might be wrong, and I'm naive, probably. We don't know, do we? It'd be
No.
interesting to find out if anyone does give us some feedback. That'd be nice.
Absolutely. So, we've talked about local branding, but the main thing was to get you on to talk about going DA. So you've now gone directly authorised. You've still got your full head of hair. You've not gone grey yet. And yeah, just obviously we're getting into detail about it, but you're still
Yeah.
smiling. That sort of you're okay. Gone through the process.
Yeah, yeah. Firstly, I don't think I don't want to sit here and say that I done all this. There's been so many people who have had to support me, but also pick up work that I wasn't able to do as well. I think it's important if somebody does go DA, they realise that the work that goes into it, you won't be able to write mortgage after mortgage after mortgage because you won't have enough time in the day. It'll be really difficult. It will be difficult. So we've I've got to thank you, Craig, obviously, because you've been absolutely unbelievable. Just brilliant, really. Liz from Rockstone Compliance, who's just written things which I can't write in language that I can't write either, and I hold my hands up to that. She's been a fantastic. My accountant Liz as well for double checking everything, so I didn't want anything to go to the FCA which wasn't checked by an accountant, and obviously my wife as well. We go home and yeah, and then Jordan and Jag who work with me as well. They've had to pick up a lot of things because I've been working on the DA side of things. So that's the thank yous. But thank you, mate. I mean, we work
No,
together well, don't
no, no.
we?
Been good to
Um,
help you. So
oh, so that's why I'm not great, and well, I'm sort of going a bit thin, but yeah. So it's not as I don't think it's as bad as everybody sort of thinks it might be. To be honest, if you get the right sort of team of people around you who can sort of complement your skills, if you
mhm.
like.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we've had some stressful moments. There's no getting away from that. But it's it's not too bad. You do have to. The call from the FCA was that popped. This in my mind. They called. They wanted to speak to me on a Teams call, and I'm a pretty confident guy. But when the FCA wants to ring you about an application, even I started to get a little bit. Oh my god, what's going
I know,
on
but that's
here?
only but that's only natural. That if you wasn't, I think most people in financial services, if they got a call from the FCA and wanted a Teams, then I think
Oh,
most people would sort of. And if you don't, then well, it just shows you they care. Obviously, it's sort of
oh,
you're
so I
going
was
through.
like,
You're go-
that was a bit of a sleepless night, that one, because I was prepared with all my answers, for every sort of eventuality about the entire application and the process and whatever else. And he just wanted to confirm 2 points, which I confirmed, which you helped me with. You helped me with those. Those are the 2 points you said that he talked about, and he talked about those. And he's a cool guy. He was great. He's just a normal human being. And I just answered the questions. And then, for once in my life, I shut my mouth and didn't say anything else because I didn't want to. I just went, "Mm." And he said, "No, that's it, Lee. We're done now." And I was like, "Oh, brilliant!" And then, luckily, then they said that we can get registered and we could go directly authorised, which is brilliant.
Excellent. And the end goal. How long's the sort of from you first? Not thinking about doing this, but first sort of traction with it, shall we say, where you're thinking, actually, I do want to go directly authorized. How long has the whole process taken?
Um, I registered FIA back a while ago, FIA Financial, but I would say, what are we on now? January, probably 15, 16 months.
Right, right.
If you think about when I started talking to you about the planning, and it's literally this was not, we can't say back with a cigarette packet. Let's talk about we put some stuff down on a remarkable, Craig, because we're up to date, aren't we? We got a remarkable, jotted
We're
some
up to
stuff down on a
date.
remarkable.
We're up to date.
We are. So all joking aside, it probably it's got to be about 15 months from some ideas and the way it's going to be structured, in then to contacting Liz at Rockstone Compliance to then getting a plan of what we actually had to do in order to become DA, the application process, what goes into the application process, what data you have to have, how we're going to compile that data in order to send it in to the application, then answer the questions which have come back from the original application. And you could just bang the answer out, but really you've got to confer with other parties, haven't you, to make sure that everything ties in properly. Because what you don't want to do is go DA and then the structure's not right and you can't provide the services that you wanted to provide, which was the whole point of going DA in the first place. Because as you know, I wanted to maybe in the future be able to deliver some more specialist products if possible.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and wanted a little bit more, maybe a little bit more flexibility on a few things. But if I hadn't have made sure that the application was right along with Liz and yourself, then I wouldn't be able to do what I wanted to do anyway. But yeah, then obviously we've got to look into sort of mortgage clubs, CRM systems. You're liaising with all these different people, and they're not speaking a different language as such, but you have to learn quite quickly on the spot the acronyms involved in the DA world and how the process works, the relationships between the mortgage clubs, the CRM providers, the lenders, the insurance providers. And so, for someone like me, if I didn't have you alongside me, it would have been really difficult. Plus, the people you talk to are really helpful. And as soon as you tell them, I haven't done this before, can you like really make it easy? They're pretty good. They're pretty good, and everyone's working their hardest. It just takes a long time. Everyone's trying their best. It's not like someone's taking their time, which I'm learning as I'm going.
Seems to when you look back at the process, obviously you are learning, as you said, and it's a different aspect. Well, I'll cover about the process first, and I want to talk about the mindset. Is there been any mindset change? But like, cover the process first of all. So the first thing was because I think that's the thing is where do you start with it? Is so the first thing was obviously you knew this was something you wanted to do. You went to like you didn't sort of go right. I'm going to fill an application form today with the FCA
No.
and start that. You went to the compliance aspect of it first, which is obviously,
Yeah.
excuse me, the right way to do it, given the fact that that's where you sort of you want to make sure everything's done right from the start. So compliance first, understanding how that's going to be managed, how that's going to be supervised, FCA application, which is like a mortgage submission application. It really, you're sort of sending it in, thinking it's going to come back. I accept. Is it like? Did you get the? You can't get dip first of all with the FCA application, but you can sort of full application in. Being then scrutinized by the underwriter or the FCA. They then come back and say, we need more documents, we need more information, or actually we need a Teams meeting with the director, hence you,
Yeah.
to sort of say this. So yeah, I can imagine the sort of the underwriters having direct conversations with clients wouldn't go down too well with brokers, but that's the difference in terms of the analogies sort of separate a little bit there. But then they do come back aligned with then obviously then you then answer back, you get the green light, then from what you're sort of saying, Gliz and Roxanne compliance are doing their part of it because there's all the
Yeah.
things like onboarding to think about. Like you say, it's then when does like mortgage clubs do it? Do you do mortgage clubs or don't do mortgage clubs? Do you do protection clubs? Do you don't do protection clubs? Do you do like you've got obviously the issues of one thing that probably don't highlight for everybody coming up, like, but the things that the challenges that you face, you want to just explain them in terms of like sort of what certain things people would take for granted, like HSBC, like non-indemnity, indemnity on protection, things like that. Do you want to just explain the why are you smiling at this
Uh,
point? Why are you sort of laughing?
because you just opened up a wound which I closed last week.
Sorry, sorry. I'm just while I've
No,
opened
it's
that
me.
wound, I'm just going to take a
It's
swig of
like I
my
said.
tea just to clear my
Yeah,
throat. But while you've
I
opened
just
that wound up,
yeah. Well, unbeknown to me, I heard stuff that it was hard to get. You've got HSBC, I think TSB, Bank of Ireland. Uh, Off the top, I haven't got my notes in front of me, Craig. My apologies, but they weren't just ones that you could apply to and get instant registration. I think we
right?
had to we had to Bank of Ireland, TSB, HSBC. We got accepted for, but TSB, our but thankfully, I got a good relationship with our business development manager, and
Right.
she managed to get us in with TSB, and also Bank of Ireland. Uh, I got a good relationship with Reese as well, but I don't think that many. I then applied, and I spoke to Reese, who we've known for ages, and HSBC was the same, I believe, and it's just things which take you by surprise. I should have known them before I started, but I didn't. And you know, I was registering with, I think everyone out there is going to laugh. I registered with 75 different lenders, mind, just so all those you must think I'm nuts, but before I'll just pick the best 8, Lee. I'm like, no, hang on a minute. I want to register with 75 different lenders, so every lender had heard of my company. So every lender, I know it's mental in there, but I had to
Wow.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 75 lenders have heard of Fear Financial. Hopefully 75 business development managers will have us on their books. And even if our passwords expire, even if whatever, we are there. So I registered the company, and I registered myself as a broker. And sometimes that can take 2 or 3 different backwards and forwards. So altogether, it must have been over 1,000 interactions with all these different lenders. Not all the insurance providers, because we've got no track record, will give you indemnity straight away.
Right. Okay.
They they won't. You have to do personal guarantees for the providers, the majority of them.
Okay.
And here's a quick tip: make sure you do a wet signature as well, because that was something as stupid which put me back 3 or 4, 5 days, because I just done your electronic signature like a
Right.
right plonker. Reading back over, absolutely ridiculous thing to do, but done it. So there's a
Good
quick tip.
learning. Good learning.
Yeah, it's something, and that put me back. But then you get feedback. We've been quite fortunate now. I think we've got most of the insurance providers on indemnity and non-indemnity. I think there's only one which is non-indemnity only, but you do have to put personal guarantee forms in, and you've got to apply. And then there's just the mortgage clubs. They all, can't criticize anybody from any mortgage club who's got back to us, but they've all got their different um, pros and cons. It does come down to the same thing in the end, but they've all got different criteria or not responsibilities. Craig, what would the word be? Or stuff that I might have to take on personally to be part of that club.
Right.
Um, and it's whatever fits your business at that time. I think you can be a member of more than one mortgage club. You can, I know you can, but we just selected one, and then you got to look at the CRM then as well. If you're having a CRM, do you want to pay for it? Do you want to get the free one? Does it fit in with your business? You've got to have you've got to go through demos of each CRM as well. You've got demos, you've got chats with all the mortgage clubs, chats with the CRM people, and then you've got to make sure that jigsaw puzzle fits together, not just for me, but for obviously um, people who might want to join Fear under whichever way they want to go. I'm not sure if we'll
Mhm.
talk about that later or not, because there's going to be opportunities for people, as we're a DA firm now, to join Fear Financial.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
We'll
I've
talk
got to
about that
make
in a bit. Definitely.
all right, cool. So I've got to make sure that it's fit for. It sounds silly, doesn't it? But it's fit for purpose. But you get so much information. You've just got to. This might come into the mindset thing. You've got to make sure you compartmentalize every single thing which you're doing, and make sure that you could piece it together in the end. And then, luckily for me, I had you there to sort of give me honest feedback, and I wanted you to be comfortable with what I was doing as well. And so there's a lot of information, and it can be information overload. But I think as long as you're organized and you can put it into compartments, and you've got to. I'll tell you what you got to do, Craig, which is important, is compromise as well. You have to make
Okay.
compromises along the way. You
Okay.
have to. I could sit here and say, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but of course, unless you're turning over a fortune, you've got to look at the bottom line, because you'll end up getting all singing, all dancing system, all singing, all dancing everything, and you, you you might not, unless you're unless you're absolutely on fire, your costs will spiral out of control. So you've got to make compromises on certain things and certain situations as well. So it's important to be flexible. and compromise in your own mind about certain things that you wanted or which you can't get at this point, but if you do well, maybe you can get in the future.
Mhm. I think it's a
Was I
good point.
waffling on then? Was I waffling on then a little bit? Sorry if I was.
No,
I was just
no, Lee,
talking
it
as I was
wasn't. I think it's a good
thinking.
it's a good point about compromise. I think it's a case of do people think like you think about the journey from going from employed to self-employed as a mortgage broker, does that give you more freedom, more flexibility? But there's still a compromise, absolutely. Then going from being part like self-employed broker, part of a firm to then having your own firm, this compromise there, you should get more freedom and flexibility, absolutely. But then you've still got a compromise. Moving from network to DA, like you've done, you've got more freedom and flexibility, absolutely. But there's still compromise there. And I think that's sort of good point, a great point to get across that you still have to compromise on certain things even though you're now directly authorised. But I think it's a great point to raise, Lee. Really do.
Yeah, I got there in the end, didn't I? I got there in the end with it. But the other thing in Craig is just quickly is a bit more serious is the responsibility which comes with being directly authorised director as well.
Yeah.
Now, that's why the compliance word is just like I'm going to be a bit of a nutcase on compliance. I think for until we're absolutely set up and everything's running absolutely smoothly. Because my neck, I'm sort of talking to people who might be thinking about going DAU, and I appreciate I'm not exactly the best. I've only been DA for a bit, but your neck's on the line, your family's on the line, everything. So we're only going to take this process on. You've got to make sure that you're committed to it. Like I was fully committed as soon as we had that chat. We had that chat, an honest, open chat about the responsibilities of becoming DA and not just,
Mhm.
the flexibility and everything else. But I'm fully aware that my neck is on the line and compliance process systems have all got to make this work for me and my family, which is, as you know, really important to me. So it's important that the responsibility aspect is put out there as well.
No, definitely. And I think that's because that was what I was going to ask you about the mindset. Is there a different mindset shift to then being very your head's fully above the parapet now? You are literally head and shoulders out there. Do you know what I mean? So is that a different shift in mindset from you think about where you've come from being from coming into the industry to then being self-employed to then having your own brand and business to then taking that and going directly authorized. If you look back at Lee's transition over from your own head's point of view over that period of time and look at how so is this a difference now in Lee to what there was 5 years ago?
The honest answer is as soon as I went self-employed, as soon as I went self-employed, it was all on me anyway. Everything was
Right,
on me.
okay.
So in all, obviously the responsibilities have increased because I have got more responsibilities than when I was just a mortgage broker. And it's just sorry, when I was a mortgage broker, I don't mean that. But my mindset, if I want to talk about my mindset, as soon as I went self-employed, it was all on me.
Right,
It was
okay.
all on me anyway. So whatever I took on, whatever I agreed to, whatever I put out on social media, every decision was my decision, right? And so it doesn't matter if I does it, at every level, it's all been on me anyway. And I've always, if I wanted to go forward, made sure that I was confident in going forward. And if it goes pear shaped, it goes pear shaped on me anyway. So my mindset has always been progress, obviously, year on year, if I can make it. But it's always been on me, and this is always on me as well. And this goes back to like a sporting thing. You've got to back yourself, haven't you? You've got to back yourself.
Yeah.
So, and you've got to back yourself. And so I do back myself to make this work. But I'm not. But I do realize the importance of not just my family, but Jordan's family, Jag's family at this point as well. They're really important to me.
And I think that's good that you acknowledge that because I think you have to, like you say, there's far more responsibility forced on you naturally because you are now sort of front and square in front of the FCA kind of thing. So you are going to have to, and yeah, it's going to be it has to be sort of that responsibility, accountability. But then you're taking the broader shoulders on and thinking, well, Jordan's family, Jag's family, and then any others that sort of joins within your business is then you take it, which is a great way to that's how it should be rather than sort of the blasé way of like not thinking like that, and not thinking about, well, there's a bigger picture here, not just me and my family. There's a bigger picture across the whole business, and particularly locally for those people that you work with. Then it's yeah, there's big responsibilities, and acknowledging it and understanding that, and then being adaptable to change is key to having that, to making that a success in terms of your own mindset, because you can get sort of too, or you could get too overwhelmed by the whole thing, especially when the challenge you face from registering with lenders or providers and stuff like that, which brings you back to that scar that you've got plenty of tattoos, mate. You've now got a scar with that going on. So we've talked about, so obviously we understand the past, and understand that you are now dealing with, you've explained a little bit around the challenges and process, and now you're fully set up, you've now fully trading Fear, yeah, that's all up and running, and you sort of trading. So what's the
Yep.
sort of plans now moving forward? What does sort of, now you've got sort of, you're there and you've gone through the pain, what does grow, and you've always been about growth. Every single time we've talked, it's always been about growth. What's now the future for
Well,
Leigh, for Fear, for the DA firm, which is called Fear Financial? What's that look like?
well, I think it's important to say that it's about growth, but sustainable growth, not just growth for growth's sake. Um,
Yeah, good
because
point.
I, I, I just want to. I got 20 mortgage advisors come and work for me, and they have a crappy experience here, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, Fear Financial's a load of rubbish. He's got no, I got no credibility then." So sustainable growth going forward. So, um, Fear Financial, as you said, is a DA firm. We will be looking to recruit, or we would be open to people having conversations with us about joining Fear Financial. Um, have I put an advert out for that yet, Craig? No. I might. We might do. I'll talk with you because I'm wondering if. Well, I'd need your advice, obviously, and obviously there might be some candidates who might want to go on my brand, my way, after seeing that my no, no, mate. Seeing the support that you've given me might be beneficial for them at that point in their career rather than going DA. But we can talk about that if you're happy to. Um, the firm itself, I've got to get us a bit more stabilised for the next 4 weeks, I would say, because the CRM I've still got to work it out properly, and then we'll do some transitional stuff with Jag and Jordan, and then people can inquire now if they want to talk to me about the potential opportunities going forward. The business itself has moved into a different premises. I'm not sure if you remember one of the podcasts. I was in a lovely office, but we've now moved back to Cumbran, and we're like in a converted shop now. So we called it the Property Hotspot, and we've got Mike Osborne's Lettings. Is that, well, you've seen it, haven't you? We got Mike Osborne Lettings upstairs. I look that way because that's where he is over there, and we got Mortgage Made Easy downstairs, and we're hoping to do a couple of one's a new business and one new project in this year between Mortgages
Right,
Made Easy and Osborne Lettings. And the hotspot is hoping that it's going to be like, it's a bit of a marketing thing, the property hotspot, because it's going to end up being a bit like an estate agent, letting agent, mortgage advice. But I named it property hotspot because it'll hopefully stand out a little bit. So back to Fear, yeah, going to be recruiting mortgage advisors, open to have conversations, no problem at all. Then a couple of joint projects, which hopefully, because Mike does lettings, and will bring more leads or inquiries into Fear Financial, because those projects be aimed at bringing clients back into the business, or supplying or providing in the end more specialist finance options.
right.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to, the last thing you want to do is say things which might not happen. I've never done that. So yeah,
Say it on
there's
the
some
podcast,
exciting.
mate, then it will happen. If you say on the podcast, then it's going, right, you've got no, the pressure's on then to make sure it
I
happens.
can,
So
I can, I can. If I don't think we'll have me back on in April, but in April you might be able to do an announcement for me or something about a new business, which might be starting in April anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
We'll leave that for that
so
3 months. Three
yeah,
months down the line, we'll get you back on the podcast
yeah.
again.
So yeah, looking to expand via financial, whichever way we can. A couple of joint projects with Osborne Lettings under the Property Hotspot banner, and just make sure that current situation with Jordan and Jag, everyone's happy and healthy and enjoying their time in the workplace. That's the priorities.
Okay. And in terms of if I'm thinking about if I'm thinking about becoming a broker, are you looking for e- experienced mortgage broker, or are you looking somebody to that you can help nurture into the if they've got the CMAP qualified as in the CMAP? Is that something you're gonna like? You can obviously they need to get CMAP, but is that something you are open to as well of taking on inexperienced for the right people, or is it so you want the experienced people to come into your business?
It's painful to say this, right? Because I'm all about developing people, and but at this point, I think they would have to be experienced brokers, Craig,
Okay.
who are maybe under a network or who because, like I mentioned briefly earlier, I at this point I've not got the time to support somebody from the start. I'd rather be honest and say I have not got the time to support somebody from the start. Maybe you had if they had this CMAP, you might be able under my brand, my way, you might be able to support them there,
Yeah,
which
yeah, we
would
can.
work
Yeah, yeah,
best.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Um, yeah, at the minute it'd be experienced brokers. Yeah, hopefully in the future, the future, I could open up an academy. I could have trainee brokers, and we could put a pathway in place from there through to the DA company, which would be brilliant. But
yeah,
at this point, imagine I didn't spend any time with a trainee broker, and they just sat there like a lemon, and I'm just like, oh, sorry, mate, I gotta go and do another project with Mike from upstairs. They'd be like, oh, nah, nah, no. At the moment, experienced brokers, um, who who just are positive people, nice people who want to collaborate maybe with other brokers and help them as well with the abundance mindset. But we can't always get what we want. But anybody who wants to reach out, then please do. Yeah.
okay. So experienced brokers looking at share like maybe looking to go work under a DA firm, whether they're employed at the minute or so employed, moving self-employed, but working with you who are experienced, coming across to work with you, but about sharing the right your values, like you said, which is important to you and having that kind of the right mentality.
Yeah, well, the values have always been important to me. You know that they're in my mortgage proposition document. I said the first thing I did when I launch Mortgages Made Easy. The first 5 videos I done were the values of the company.
Right. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay.
I, yeah, so I can't go around just I can't they're very important to me, the values, and
Good.
hopefully the value. Well, yeah, of course, the values go through the core of the company with everything we do. And so what we can't do is deviate from that, because you lose your identity then, don't you? And the
Yeah.
identity is as important to everything else. So yeah,
Absolutely.
hopefully we've got the right values, I think. And the last one is enjoying every day. And like it's like this, I'm enjoying this. I enjoy talk to you. I enjoy coming into work. Um, I
Well,
enjoy
that's
talk to
important, is
Jordan and Jack.
that's
We can
so
have a laugh.
important. I think that's sort of if you with the sort of second week into 2025, if you're not enjoying doing what you're doing, then you need to do something about it. And it's not always easy to do something about it, but if you have to enjoy doing what you do, you have. And don't get me wrong, everybody like there's always going to be times where challenges stuff like that, but you do genuinely love where you work, love who you work with, love what you do, and that's important. It is massively important, and that will show within the culture that you have within Fear.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed we can. It'll just. Well, if we just expand on what we've done and it doesn't get diluted too much as we go along, that's why I said sustainable growth. Then you can keep the core. pretty good. Now, there might be firms out there who've got 100 brokers and like Leigh, you're having a laugh, mate, but I'm not aiming at 100 brokers at this point. I'm just trying to grow a sustainable business. So at this point, my core values and the values won't just be a folder. They'll be instilled in people as they join the process.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
we'll fingers crossed we can keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what it's all about, mate. Culture, that is the key to building a sustainable business, whether you've got, and it doesn't really matter whether you've got one or 101, like you say, it doesn't really matter. It's about building on solid foundations with the right culture. So absolutely.
Well, your culture at CS is fantastic, isn't it? Like I was under my brand, my way, and although geographically we were miles away, we had we had days out, we had a support group, you had yourself there, we had all people who were willing to help, and so you know I'm learning from you in that respect as well, mate. Because although we were geographically far away from most of the people, we knew everybody. And there
Yeah.
was, you know, we went to the races for an anniversary, and there was everyone was like, "Well, hi, Lee, how's it going, mate? You all right? How are you?" And I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, yeah." It was just great to know people and to keep
Surprised you
that
can remember
culture
stuff
there.
about that day, mate,
So,
to be fair, but I'm
oh,
not going to mention that.
don't, 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 let's not go down that road.
I'll cut
Let's
that
go
bit
down.
out.
I
I'll cut
blame Jag.
that. Yeah, you can. So,
So the culture in CS is brilliant, and you know, we're trying to emulate a little bit of that at Fear as well, which should be nice.
good. So I'll tag you in. So the best way to, I'm thinking about, I want to have a chat with you, an informal chat about what you are, the firm, the culture, and stuff like that. What's the best way to obviously reach out to you? I'll put all your links into your social media, even your superhero one back from way back when. We'll put that one in. But yeah, what's the best way for people to reach out to you and just start that conversation?
I would say for this, let's go for LinkedIn, for a message
Okay.
through LinkedIn. Yeah, let's keep it all in one place. If you listen to this, or a message on Facebook to my personal one though, Leigh Rowland. My phone number's out all over the place anyway. I won't give my phone number out now, but my phone number's everywhere anyway. So if you want my phone number, just text me, drop me a message on LinkedIn or Facebook. Yeah, I'm not too keen on Instagram at the moment, or I'm just not too keen on Instagram at the moment.
Or even just put like in terms of
Oh,
send
comment
a
on
message
this.
to
Comment on the
me or put a
podcast.
comment on here,
Yeah.
things
Oh,
like that, and I'll
yeah.
just forward it on to Lee anyway. So that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Perfect.
So Lee, just when you sort of said there about environment, just want to finish on the environments we've hosted the post podcast on. So we started in your back garden. I think that was fair to say.
Yeah,
Do
with
you
the
remember that
dog
one?
barking. Was it with the
Yeah.
dog barking?
Yeah. With the dog barking in your back
That's it.
garden was
Oh,
episode one. So then,
wow.
yeah, you did have you had the nice offices on the
A Baffle
Abergavenny
House.
Road, was it? Like, what was it?
Abergavenny Road, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful,
Well
beautiful
remembered.
place.
And then now you've got your own sort of high street in Cumbrian with your property hotspot and stuff like that. So, but at the end of the day, the environment, the location is the location. The important thing is understanding you and what you're about and how you built, how you've grown over the years, and what you're going to continue to grow with Fair Financial. So, thanks for being on the podcast, mate. Thanks for being honest and open as always. And I'm sure we'll get you back on the podcast in the near future to talk even more about your experience of going directly authorized.
Well, thank you very much for having me, mate. And as always, when I sign off, just thanks so much for all the support and the coaching, the help over the last 3.5 years. Wouldn't be here without you. So thank you very much from me and everybody else as well, Jordan and
I
Jag.
appreciate that, Matt. I appreciate that, mate. It has certainly has been fun. So cool. Cheers, Lee.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Craig.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks for agreeing to come back onto podcast. Thank you for being a great guest. And as always, giving your honest and open feedback on the whole journey of from yourself and building your local brand to then going directly authorized and where you're at currently as well with directly authorized. If you have recently qualified and got your CMAP 1 and looking to become a self-employed mortgage broker, then please get in touch. Or if you're looking to start your own mortgage brand and business, then also please get in touch and I can explain how I can help you achieve your goals with that as well. Or you're just looking to accelerate the growth of your existing business. Whichever option is for you, I can help and support you to achieve what you're wanting to achieve, particularly in 2025. See my website, craigskelton.co.uk. Get in touch, book a discovery call, message me, or just send me a WhatsApp and we can have a chat about how I can help you achieve what you're wanting to achieve. And don't forget to run your own race.